Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for your participation so far. It is great to get to know those of you who I don't know in person, but we've been communicating perhaps through messaging, knowing if this program is right for you. So it's really great to get to know you just a little bit better. As I mentioned this morning, today we're going to be talking about being ready, willing, and able to change. So change is actually what this program is all about. It's hard to communicate that. So it's going to be about nutrition and it's going to be about fitness. But honestly, you probably know a lot of the stuff I'm going to tell you. I'll give you a few tidbits of things that, are going to be enlightening. But at the end of the day, what you need to do. Where most of us run into problems, it's in executing those changes or staying consistent with making those changes. So we're going to talk a lot about how to make change and make sure that once we make that change, we change for good. So are you ready, willing, and able? I'm going to ask you a couple questions today. Number one, how ready are you to change? And then number two, how willing are you to change? And finally, number three, how able are you to change? So there's no right or wrong answers. This is strictly for you to get to know yourself a little bit better and to see where you're at in this process. So starting with number one, how ready are you to change? Think about what brought you into the group today. Are you sick of doing what you have been doing? Are your old routines no longer working anymore? And then score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. So 1 being, nope, I'm not ready to change. I can't do this just yet. And then 10 being, I am totally ready. Let's do this. Bring it on. So how ready are you to change your existing nutrition and health habits? Now, question number 2, how willing are you to change? So how open are you right now to changing your mindsets, your habits, and your routines? Are you willing to just go with the flow with what I tell you and what I suggest? Or do you hate being told what to do? Are you not very coachable? And then again, score yourself. And keep in mind, there's no right or wrong answers. This is strictly for you to understand where you're at. But 1 would be no change, not gonna do it. I don't care what you say. I'm digging my heels in. And then number 10 being, change me, Kylie. I'll do whatever you say. Just tell me what to do and I will do it. So how willing are you to trust the process and let change occur? Finally, how able are you to change? So sometimes we really want to change, but something is blocking us. And sometimes there's legitimate things in our way. They're not necessarily excuses, but they're definitely challenges. So maybe you have a really challenging work schedule. I've already seen that pop up a couple of times. A new baby, that's happening as well. Or maybe you have a toddler and a baby. That's the hardest combo. Maybe you're dealing with an unsupportive environment, whether it's a spouse, coworkers that give you crap all the time about what you're eating, friends that give you a hard time for not going to happy hour, things of that nature. But think about what challenges are in your way. Is something holding you back from changing? And then again, score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. So 1 being, right now, I just can't change. My environment's not going to let me. I've got too much stuff going on and holding me back. Or 10 being, I have all the tools and all the support that I need right now. How able are you to change? So as we go through this process, we're going to do what I call noticing and naming. Because resistance is going to pop up. And that's natural. We don't like being told what to do. And that's why I don't do meal plans. Because eventually you're going to resent me for giving you this meal plan for all the foods that are not on that meal plan, and you end up rebelling. So that's just a little bit of a side note there. But resistance is going to pop up. But I just want you to notice it. So, for example, if I say, okay, you need to meal prep. I don't have time to meal prep. Okay, that's resistance. Why is that coming up? And what is that really about? And start to dig a little bit deeper. Or if I tell you to eat slowly, I can't eat slowly. I have 10 minutes between clients and and I just can't do that. So there's resistance popping up, and start to notice when that comes up so that you can think about, okay, what is the real issue here? So A couple of things that we're gonna do today, and I will type this up in the comments up above in the description of this video. Number one, remind yourself that change is a skill, right? How many times have you tried to change before? It is hard. It's really, really hard to change. And even harder than that, it's hard to make that change stick. So be mindful of that and understand that this is a process. Purposely practice small daily success. So we're gonna do a lot of reflecting at the end of the day, at the end of the week, to think about what we did really well. That's going to help us to make change. And then think about how ready, willing, and able you are to move forward with change. Score yourself with those, scales of 1 to 10. There are no right or wrong answers. This is, again, just for you to understand where you are. And it's also going to, indicate what kind of changes you might see at the end of our program. If you're not willing to change, you're not going to change. So keep that in mind. And then finally, we're going to notice and name when resistance pops up. So don't try and make that resistance go away. Just pay attention to it. And remember, resistance can be sneaky. So it may not be showing up like kicking and screaming like, no, 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 no. It may be a little bit more subtle than that, ways that we are self-sabotaging ourselves and our progress. But we're going to get to know ourselves a little bit better during this process, because the key to change is also being really self-aware. And when you're self-aware, you have to have the awareness in order to understand that change needs to be made. And so that's all a part of this process. As you notice things coming up, don't judge. You're just noticing. We're just noticing. We're not passing judgment on ourselves. So take it easy on yourself as you're making change. So that's all I have for you this afternoon. You guys, thank you so much for your participation. I'm so glad a couple of you were able to hop on live. I'll continue responding to your check-ins. I love this, noticing it. Yes, so meditation, if you meditate, that's awesome, Brandy. I'd be curious to know if anyone else out there is currently meditating. I would like to implement that. One thing at a time though, right? But I'll continue to respond to everyone I haven't gotten back to yet this morning. Feel free to share your answers, although you don't have to for this one because it's a little bit more private. And then of course you're going to hear from me at the end of the day. Leanne and I will both be sharing what we ate today. We're just going to put it in a big post at the end so we don't overwhelm you with a bunch of pictures with what we eat. But at the end of the day, you'll see what exactly we were eating today. You guys have a wonderful afternoon, and I will talk to you soon.